New Instagram update. So fire.
What we do here is go back.
Okay, what's going on, guys? My name is Scolaro, and this is the preset tutorial video. I released my presets about a month ago. They're already selling pretty hot, so I thought I'd make a video for those who don't know how to use them, don't know their way around Lightroom too well. We're going to dive into that right now. Here we go. First things first, what we're going to do is we're going to open up Lightroom here. I've already got the 4 photos we're going to be editing today. We have this one here, just a basic cliche rooftop look down, rooftop portrait, another rooftop portrait, and just some fun at the beach. So pretty much we're going to be starting here at this one. When you import the presets, you just click this plus button here, import presets, go to the zip folder I downloaded here, open that up outside of Lightroom, and then import the presets. You should get the Dreamchasers folder here just like this, and you'll see 4 presets. These 4 presets I use to edit every single one of my Instagram photos. The first preset in the pack is called Alps. Alps is a preset that kind of creates that moody green foresty look. It's actually the preset I use the least. So we're going to be skipping that one for now. The second is Coffee Shop, and Coffee Shop is what you'd expect it to be. It's like a moody, faded film kind of preset. Third is Creamsicle. Creamsicle is probably one of my most used. It's kind of like an orange and teal, but not really. It slaps for portraits, sunset shots, pretty much everything. It's an all-around fire preset. And then lastly, obviously, Sunset Killer is exactly what you'd think it would be. Sunset Killer is also fire for night shots, and that is a fully teal and orange preset. So let's get started with our first photo here. This is a photo I took in Toronto on a rooftop at Yonge and Eglinton. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to our preset tab here. If it's not down, drop it down. And Sunset Killer is what I'm going to be using to edit this one. So I'm going to tap Sunset Killer. First thing you notice when you apply the preset, everything's kind of dark here. It's also very gritty and absolutely disgusting. So first, I'm going to raise my exposure here because everything is kind of dark. So we raise that and we instantly see more detail in the image. It already looks a lot better, but there's much more to do. By raising the exposure, everything is kind of flat now. I don't see a lot of tone, especially in the shadows and highlights. So to fix that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise my blacks just a bit. And I'm going to drop my shadows. What this does is it makes everything softer while still maintaining a good amount of tone. If you raise your shadows and drop your blacks, you kind of get this weird looking, flat, ugly, sharp image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just bring that back down there just a bit. And then the next step is to always drop clarity and texture. I find that in-camera sharpening is always overkill, and especially with night shots like these, you see all these lights here. When you drop your clarity just a bit, you'll notice that they kind of fade and drop this nice soft look to them, while the whole image is still sharp, actually. And so I love that kind of effect right there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to raise my whites, which will intensify the effect of that glow just a little bit, just a little bit. All right, that's looking pretty good there. Right now, the image is not even close to being done. We still have a couple other things to fix. Number one is our temperature here. I'm just going to slide that over and warm this up, add some life into it. Okay, that's looking pretty good, but if you see these buildings here on the side, these are gray. I want to add a bit of color to these buildings, so I'm going to go down to my HSL color. I'm going to grab my blues. You can see there's very, very slightly blue. We're going to increase the saturation there just a bit. And I'm actually going to change the hue from an aqua to a bit of a darker blue. Okay, that's looking good right there. It's actually a little bit less. Right about there, that's good. Might even raise my luminance a bit, just a bit. There it goes. Okay, perfect. So now our image is correctly colored. The brightness is looking pretty good to me, but it's still looking a little flat with color overall. So I'm going to do here, I'm going to take my vibrance tool, and I'm just going to increase it just a bit. And right about there, I think that's almost about it. Maybe I might even do a little bit less and bump up the side. That's it right there. So now by doing that, we've pretty much got a pretty solid looking image all around. Always look at everything before, tweak a few things. My orange here is a little too much, so I'm going to lessen it a bit. The streets are looking a little too punchy. I might even brighten those up just a bit. Yeah, it's good there. And then you want to look at your entire image around. So I see here it all looks pretty good, but the one thing I see this little block here on the corner of the building I took it on. That's still a little dark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a selective brush by clicking here. And I'm going to paint over this area here. It might be too bright when you paint it, but don't worry because we can fix that. We're going to drop this back, everything to normal. And the exposure here, we started kind of at a spot like this. I'm just going to brighten that up just a little bit. right about there looks good. Might even do it less. And then shadows up just to take out the dark spots. That right there looks perfect, and I think that is a pretty much completed image. I'm just looking all around, and that looks pretty fire. All right, so that is Sunset Killer. Sunset Killer works great for night shots, day shots, portraits, anything during a sunset or a time when the lighting is relatively even. Sunset Killer is perfect. Okay, so our next shot here, we have Lita. She's a dancer. I love this shoot. This is one of my favorite portrait shoots I've actually done this year. To edit this photo, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Creamsicle, which is my favorite portrait preset of all time pretty much. So we're going to throw that on there. It instantly slaps a whole ton of like tone and stuff like that. I really, really like it. Exposure needs to go up. We're going to drag that up just a bit. We don't want to be losing too much detail in the sky there. You see the sky is nice and toned, so we're going to raise it up just a little bit. I think that's good right about there. And the rest I'm going to raise my blacks, like I said before, blacks and shadows if you have to later. Always make sure that your shadows are lower than your blacks. Huge, huge, huge. All right, that's looking good right about there. I might touch up the contrast just a bit, and that looks good there. Our horizon is not even, so what I'm going to do to fix that, I'm going to grab my rotation tool, make sure that horizon's nice and flat. Oh, I messed up there. Make sure horizon's nice and flat. It goes all the way straight across the image. Perfect. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to grab a filter here, a graduated filter. We're going to take it from the sky down just to make sure that everything here is, the sky is keeping that tone that we want it to have. Actually, I'm going to do a little bit of this here. That's good there, and then down a bit more. And raise my shadows just a bit to keep her feet nice and sharp. Okay, that's looking good there. Now what I'm going to do is, we still don't have enough saturation in this image, in my opinion at least. Sure, this looks good over there, but the rest of the image is looking kind of gray. What I'm going to be doing now is just raising my saturation by getting out of the filter tool and going down to other vibrance or saturation and raising that just a bit. That is a little bit too much, and that's perfect right about there. You don't want to start seeing things that are gray. You don't want those to start looking blue. That it makes the image look very fake. You want it to look as realistic as possible while still having a good amount of color. So I think this one's pretty good. This one looks done to me. Check our before and after. That's our before, that's our after. Looking absolutely fire. Next image here is one I shot with a Sports Illustrated model. Used to be. Retired now, but still got it. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be going to my preset called Coffee Shop. And like I said before, this one's a very moody, faded preset. Like you're in a coffee shop, old nostalgic vibes. First things first, here I'm going to be lowering my exposure just a bit. Everything was kind of bright there. Next, what I'm going to be doing is raising my blacks just a bit. And if I have to, tone my shadows down just a little bit. That looks good right up there. You see her back is very, very moody there. You're getting some mood on the buildings and in the shadows. And now what I'm going to do, right now, to me, this is, for my personal style, is too desaturated. So I'm going to raise my saturation just a little bit, like right about there. That looks fire to me. Because the point of this preset is to be desaturated and moody at the same time. You don't want to kill the, you don't want to not use the purpose of the preset. You might as well use a different one if you're going for a super saturated look. This looks pretty good to me already. I might even lower the clarity just a bit more just to keep those things nice and soft. You see here, this is clarity -20. I want to go till just till I see I'm losing, everything's looking too soft. Still good, still good. That looks pretty much good, but the only problem now is that the rest of the image is losing detail there. So I got to add some back in. Go back until we see that it looks just about good. -10 is, that's looking fire. So everything's soft, but it's not soft to a point where I can't see certain details in the background. That looks fire to me. I might play with my temperature just a bit to find a nice balance. That looks pretty good there. Always tint too. Tint's often something that can throw you off. If you want to go for a more bleached look, you can go to towards the green, but I'm thinking I'm going to stay kind of in the middle at 8 there. That looks good to me. Maybe even 5. This tint slider makes a big adjustment. This is Coffee Shop, by the way. Let's look at our before and after. Boom. Very minimal, but big enough difference for it to still look fire. All right, last photo here, we have same model, but we're at the beach here. What I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be using Sunset Killer again, but in certain lighting conditions, Sunset Killer, you'll find, doesn't work too well in skin tone, so I'm going to show you how to get around that here. Sunset Killer here, boom. So one thing I first noticed is that the tone is pretty good. The shadows and blacks are a little heavy, so we're going to fix that in a minute, but the biggest thing I noticed is that the skin is desaturated. in some spots more than others too. It looks a little weird. It looks uneven. Doesn't look that nice. So what I'm going to be doing here is, first things first, toning temperature. So what I can do is heat it up just a little. I'm going to heat it up just a bit. No, you don't want her looking too tan, but you still don't want her face looking too desaturated. You can see on the tip of her nose and her cheeks, it looks a little weird. So to fix that, I can always take my brush later, but I increase the temperature just a little bit. Next what I'm going to do is I'm going to be brightening some of the pockets here by raising my blacks and lowering my shadows. Same technique as always, right about there. I might raise my blacks even more and then drop my shadows even more. That looks good right about there. And from here on out, what I'm going to be doing is increasing my vibrance, saturation. I'd always recommend increasing your vibrance and saturation. Usually that's specifically because I shoot in what's called a neutral color profile. And so my colors are relatively flat anyway, so I have the space and ability to modify them later in post. So increase our saturation a bit more. That looks good. Now, she's looking too orange. As you can see, no one's skin color, for the most part, is that orange, and it looks kind of fake. So I'm going to be going down here to my HSL color tab. I'm going to change the hue a little more yellow, just a tiny, tiny bit, and then I'm going to be lowering my saturation of orange down till it looks like it's normal, and it's not looking too brightly colored. And that looks pretty good right there. I might even raise my luminance just a bit. So luminance is the brightness of the color, saturation is the intensity of the color, and hue is the hue of the color. So by using those three, you can kind of mix colors and make it look like something different. Might even pull my exposure down just a tiny little bit. Just a tiny little bit. No, actually, I think that's good. So here is another final image that we produced using Sunset Killer. We're going to hit our before and after by hitting Y. There's before, relatively no color, and here is our after with, you can see the water is a huge increase. The orange and teal makes the skin and the water look much, much nicer. Let's see if I can do a clarity adjustment here. Actually, I already have. I think it's already good. A lot of my presets, the clarity is already taken care of, so you don't want to worry too much about that. But that's pretty much it. Those are 4 photos I've edited literally within under 10 minutes with my preset pack. The preset pack is available on my website. The presets are available on my website. You can find them here at www.nickscolaro.co. You hit the Shop Now button or go to the Shop tab up here. You can find them here. Right now they're on sale for 50% off. That's all for today, guys. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more. See you in the next one.